How can DAW templates be linked to creativity and the frequency spectrum? Distraction and procrastination are creativity killers. They lurk in the corners of our minds and slowly but surely find their way into our studio sessions. It's easy to take for granted when you open up your DAW. The channels that open up are as default and you think that they're there to stay. Instead of making music, we spend all our time setting up channels, putting in channel strips and building chains of plugins, searching for our samples, perhaps putting in some MIDI notes, and then we can slowly and arduously get our music made. And this takes hours and hours of time. And then procrastination sets in. We're more likely to sit on our phones, looking at social media and not getting any work done. And research has shown that it can take up to 30 minutes to get back to your task, wasting more precious time. A DAW template was the first thing that really helped me organise my workflow when it came to making music. Before learning about and taking time to set up a template in my DAW, I spent time, probably hours, setting up the DAW so I could make a track. Organising your plugins to your chord structures can help you jump straight into a project and manipulate it to the way you want it to sound straight out the gate. Even organising your MIDI notes and what key you're going to be in can be a real help. As you can see, you can jump straight in and actually look at the template and also the spectrum analyzer and start understanding where all your sounds are going to actually sit when you work. In Ableton, we can actually organise them from top to bottom in the arrangement template here, or we can actually go over to the session view, and as you can see, from left to right, the sounds from low end to highs will actually appear as they do in the spectrum analyzer. Okay, so let's get started. Open Ableton Live. You should have some MIDI channels that load in the default template. You will also see an audio channel. Label one of your MIDI channels Kick. You can rename your MIDI track either by right-clicking your mouse and selecting Rename, or Command R for Mac, or Windows key R for PC. Now colour this blue. I'll explain why later. You have a few different blues to choose from in the colour palette, as when you notice when you click right, this comes up also. So just pick a colour that you fancy. Okay, so we can start loading instruments and audio effects into the MIDI channel. In the picture you can see I've actually got a simpler device with a 909 kick sample in it, an EQ8, a FabFilter Pro C2 compressor, a 3G mono dB meter, a utility, and a spectrum analyzer. Now, I'm going to just instruct you to group the simpler. So right-click on the simpler itself and press Group to Drum Rack, and I'll explain why in a minute. And we can close down these windows now. And what we can do now is we can highlight the simpler, which is Group to Drum Rack, and press Shift key and highlight all the way down to Spectrum, and now we can group all of these plugins together So they are in a group, so we can turn them on and off should we see fit, and also minimize them to get them out of our view for some more screen real estate. Now, one more thing before we go is to draw in a MIDI bar here. So highlight the area that you want to create your MIDI bar in, and press Shift, Command and M, and that will paint in a MIDI bar. And if you double click on that, that will then show a piano, and then you can start painting in your kick notes on the beat for house, or in any other fashion that you see fit. So basically what we can do now is we can save the template to Ableton Live, but before we do so, we can actually set up the whole template now with kick, the bass, the mids, high mids and the highs, and then save it to Ableton Live, so every time we open it up we've got a template ready to go, loaded up with all our favourite stuff, so then you're just ready to go. Okay, so we can actually repeat this for the rest of the process to create a full template for us to work from every single time we go and click on Ableton Live. So basically, there's my low end, my kick, this is my bass, so I've got a few things loaded in for making bass lines. I've got my mids here, I've got an analog, an operator and some pads set up for when I start making some music. And also, if you look at my MIDI bars, I've actually painted in the A minor key here, so I can start painting in MIDI notes should I want to play some chords. So that's quite a nice thing to have, so you can actually save more time by not having to paint everything in. And also in my high mid section, so I've got a snare selector with all my favourite snares in, so my claps and my percussion loops here as well. And in my highs I do have a hi-hat selector in here as well, so I've got my different hi-hat samples in here that I can select around, so when I actually press play, it will actually just start playing some random stuff. Not terribly inspiring, but you can start straight away without having to build anything. Now, to save the template, just go up to Live and go to Preferences. You can also press Command and comma to open up the preferences, and you need to go to the File and Folder tab, which is here, and you go to Save Current Set as Default, and it will ask you if you'd like to overwrite the default set, and of course you do, so press OK, and then your DAW template will save, so every time that you open up Ableton Live, it will load all of your samples and all of your plugins, and it should look exactly how you want it to look. I recommend that you do colour it in this way, so low ends, kick in blue, bass in purple, anything in the mid-range in green, the high mids in orange, and the highs in yellow. So as the sounds get higher or brighter, they actually have a corresponding colour, and this basically means that you can find stuff for when you do actually load it up, and it's just much easier to navigate around as well. Basically you can go away and set this up, or you can actually go on to our website and you can download this very template for Ableton Live should you not want to actually build it yourself. I recommend that you do build it yourself because it means that you get used to your DAW and all the different places that you can find things should you need to find them again. Okay, so I just want to recap what the spectrum analyzer has to do with all of this and the frequency spectrum. Your template is set up now, so you'll notice that you'll have a template in order of sounds as they appear, and the frequency spectrum, identifying what sounds sit where in the spectrum of sounds, will help you to start identifying the following. What sounds could be clashing in your mix? What sounds work together when making your track? You can turn off the groups to work on specific parts of your track. You can A and B groups and individual channels within the groups to identify sounds that might not be working in your tracks. And you can go to any part of your track quickly. Now it's coloured in relation to the sounds that you're looking for, and it's labelled really well too. Now, this is the extra cool nerdy bit. If you end up collaborating with any other producers, They will be able to see where in your track, and even if they do get stuck, you can talk them through your project, even without looking at it yourself. Now, like I said before, you can also download this template from the UMR website and save it yourself time. You can also share it around to your mates so they can benefit from it too. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.